MiM Monday. This is Mickey and Minutes Live, and it's time to make Monday magical. Welcome in, welcome in. So this is our live show here. Thanks for joining. I already have some people coming in. Thanks so much, guys. So this is Mickey and Minutes Live, and this is where we talk about the Disney news together. So join me in the chat if you're watching this as a playback on YouTube or on Instagram. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to join the chat next time. We do this every Monday at 8 p.m. Central Time. So yes, lots of people coming in. Let me hit the wave button to all you guys. Thank you so much for joining, guys. This is Mickey and Minutes Live. We're going to talk about the news, and let's get started. So, the big news, obviously, everybody who's a Disney fan knows that the Rivers of America at Magic Kingdom closed. They are officially closed as of today. Yesterday was the last day of operation for the Liberty Bell Riverboat, Tom Sawyer Island, and of course just the Rivers of America in general. So I obviously, I'm home, I'm in my studio, so I wasn't at Walt Disney World yesterday to say goodbye, but, lots of amazing social media people have been providing this great coverage of the last day, and man, it's so sad. Did you guys see all those pictures of, the rainbow over the river yesterday during, some of its final hours? That was crazy. So it's, as of today, it's already been removed from the digital maps on My Disney Experience, been removed from the paper maps that they're handing out in the parks, and there's already walls up, there's already planters up blocking the boat dock. The riverboat landing sign on the boat dock has already been removed. Guys, they're not wasting any time turning this over to Piston Peak. Even I've seen some videos of workers on the island already. There's been some props that are tagged, for removal, and they're literally wasting no time at all. So, I see already some sad faces in the chat. Drop a sad face in the chat if this is hurting your heart as much as it's hurting mine. It's hard to see this go, and I'm not just talking about any one particular thing. The riverboat by itself is tough to see go. The Tom Sawyer's Island, that's tough to see go. Yeah, I see more sad faces. But just the whole thing is what I'm most sad about. Seeing the whole thing go, because we're losing so much aesthetic, so much beauty. I want to say natural beauty, but obviously it's a man-made river. But so much of this is going away. I love the feel of going through Frontierland and seeing the riverboat go by, hearing that whistle. That's one of the most iconic sounds in the Magic Kingdom to me. And it's hard to know that we're never gonna hear that again. It's gone. But I think it's cool that they're wasting no time, because nothing's worse than seeing something just sit and rot. At Disney World, we hate to see that, right? Happy they redesigned the concept art to include water features in Piston Peak. I agree. So, Piston Peak National Park, that's what's replacing the Rivers of America and Tom Sawyer's Island. And what this is, for those of you who don't know, this is a Cars-themed land. And the name Piston Peak actually comes from Planes Fire and Rescue, but it's not Planes is in the same universe as Cars, but that's the only thing they're taking from Planes is the name. What's going on, yo-ho daddy, yo? Hey buddy, what's going on, man? It's gonna be Piston Peak National Park, and it's going to be themed to the national parks of the U.S. I'm not going to take too much time talking about Piston Peak right now, because I've talked about this on several other MiM Mondays. But what I think is cool is like Chus said in the chat, we're keeping some of the river. When they first released the original concept art, a lot of people were complaining. The river is completely gone. There's not enough water features. It's it doesn't look good. And Disney's listened. They released some new concept art recently, and it has about half the river, that river that lines that frontier. I call it the Frontier Trail. That Frontierland area, that's still there partially. And hey, what's going on? Thanks for joining. And so yeah, we're keeping some of the water features, and we're gonna have some geysers, and some waterfalls and stuff. It's gonna be cool, I think. There's going to be an original character named Ranger J. Audubon Woodlore, which is a Cars version of Audubon Woodlore. I don't know how to say his name still. I got the name wrong last time, and I haven't figured out how to say it. But this character from the Donald Duck cartoon in 1954 called Grin and Bear It, featuring Humphrey the Bear. I don't know if you guys remember this old short, but that's where they're getting this character from. So it's like a Cars version of this character from this old Donald Duck short. So it's kind of an original character, but kind of a throwback to old Donald Duck. That made my heart happy also, So I feel like, yes, they're taking this river away and they're taking all that away. But, they're kind of listening and kind of giving us sort of what we want, Oh no, my computer is running out of battery. 2 seconds, guys. I should plug this in so I don't lose all of my notes. That'd be bad. There we go. So, yeah, Josh D'Amaro was quoted when talking about this and talking about New Frontierland and what that's all going to be like. He said, "The American West has always been about keeping your eyes on the horizon, believing in yourself, carving your own path, and striving towards success. That goes for miners in the mountains, bears from the country, a princess from the bayou, or a race car from the big city." So they're trying to tie Frontierland together. But I have a question to ask you guys in the chat. Yes or no question. Do you think they should keep the name Frontierland? Do you think this area of the park should remain Frontierland, or do you think they should break it up? I did an episode on this. It was part of the Future Frontierland series on the Making a Minutes podcast, on the main podcast. Hey, thanks for joining. And I brought up the idea that it should be broken up into different lands, right? And basically my idea is we have the frontier area where we have like Country Bear Jamboree and, the old shooting gallery, which is now the DVC Lounge, and call that Frontier Trail. I think that sounds really cool. And then we could have Bayou Country, borrowing that name from Disneyland for the Tiana's area. And then Piston Peak over here for the cars. And then the area of with Big Thunder Mountain, I was thinking it can be called Rainbow Ridge, right? Like, doesn't that sound awesome? I just think that sounds great. But, that might be too many lands. So, I don't know. I see some no's in the chat. Frontier Trail on the way to different lands. Yeah, exactly. So, I will be going to Disney World in September. In fact, we finished solidifying our trip. Got our dining reservations, all that stuff set, so I'm in a Disney World mood. So I'm wearing my Disney World hoodie and my Disney World shirt and my Disney World hat. I'm feeling all Disney World today, because going with my family in September, and it's gonna be really weird not seeing the river, seeing the big walls, the construction walls, So, it's gonna be tough. I had this idea also. I think we should keep the riverboat, but keep it stationary somewhere, and call it the Liberty Bell Lounge, and have it be like a bar and lounge area. Could you imagine? Isn't that cool? The Liberty Bell Lounge. Disney, I know you're not listening, but it's a cool idea. Oh, goodness. So, we're sad, but new things are coming, and I'll be in Disney World in a couple months, so, Before that, I'll be in Disneyland this month, so I'm excited for that too. But let's stick with Disney World. Let's talk about more Disney World news. So, because of the Rivers of America closing, the Walt Disney World Railroad has now entered shuttle mode. So, basically what that means is the train goes forward and backwards. So, it now travels between the Fantasyland station in Storybook Circus and the Main Street station. The Frontierland station is now closed during the construction, and so some of the benches on the trains are now oriented facing the other way. So that way, if people don't want to go backwards, depending on what direction they're going, they could sit facing the front, whatever direction that may be, or at that point. And, it's not like a round trip anymore. It's just shuttle mode, so people aren't going to sit there and ride it both ways, probably. I mean, maybe some people will. But as of right now, the only train that has the new seats, the new oriented seats, is the Walter E. Disney. That one is the one set up for shuttle mode. That's the one currently going, but the other trains will follow suit pretty soon. What if it's used on Lake Buena Vista? You're talking about the riverboat, right? Yes, sure. Anywhere on any body of water. It doesn't have to be in Magic Kingdom. But, I think of, we have a paddlefish over at Disney Springs, which is kind of a similar idea. Of course, it's a lot bigger and it's a restaurant. But somewhere else, maybe even, maybe over on the Sassagoula River somewhere, right? That'd be really cool. Put it over by Port Orleans, Riverside, and French Quarter, that area on the Sassagoula somewhere, and have the Liberty Bell Lounge. That sounds fantastic, right? But they should definitely use it somewhere because it's so beautiful, right? Yeah, thank you. Good idea. Yeah, thank you. And so now that the train is going backwards, they have some a new spiel going in the train. We're losing half the spiel because it's not going to half the places now. But there's this cute part of the new spiel. If you don't want spoilers for some of the new narration, I guess earmuffs for the next couple minutes, but it's cool. So there's a part now where the train starts to go backwards, and the conductor says, "By now you've probably noticed I'm not just conducting the train today. I'm also conducting a bit of an experiment. You know the old saying, sometimes you have to go backwards to go forwards. Well, we're putting that to the test by heading to Storybook Circus Caboose first, and Tomorrowland is the perfect place for experimentation. That's why I've invited my favorite little experiment to ride along with us. Folks, say hello to Experiment 626. And then there's a whole thing with Stitch. Stitch is like, "Can I drive the train?" or whatever. And it's super cute, guys. But I just think this is the magic of Disney, because even something as, weird as the train going backwards, they're adding story to it, and they're adding this layer to it, and I just think it's fantastic. Bravo, Disney. So yeah, that's what's going on in with the train. Do you guys think it's weird to ride the train backwards? I'm into it. I think it's really cool. Something, again, that I'm going to do in September, and check that out, because, how often do you get to ride a train backwards? So, yeah. Moving on. So, Eat to the Beat, the concert series for Food and Wine Festival. The whole lineup was announced, and I'm both excited about this, but also a little annoyed about this, because one of my favorite artists is playing the day after I'm going to be in Epcot. So let's back up for a second. So beginning July 16th, you guests can book their dining reservations for a dining package for concert seating. So basically, what they do is they offer packages for certain restaurants in Epcot, where you eat at the restaurant, and then you get reserved seating, or I guess guaranteed seating, for the concert. And that's a really cool idea. So the concerts are, the whole festival time, from August 29th. The last one looks like November 17th. So most of the time, the festival goes into the 22nd. But basically, I'm not going to go through the whole list because there's a whole bunch. But you got Joey Fatone and friends. So he's from NSYNC, right? And so him and some other probably boy band artists. I've never seen that before, but that's pretty cool. Then you got Mercy Me. That's one of my favorite bands. A new artist, KT Tunstall. I don't know who that is. Never heard of that before. But then September 7th and 8th, Toby Mac. I love this dude. He's so awesome. He's going to be there. Of course, I'm going to be in Epcot on September 6th, literally the day before Toby Mac. So if you're in Epcot, go check him out on those days, because he's great. I've seen him 4 or 5 times already, so it's fine. Then you got Starship featuring Mickey Thomas. Let's see, who else? Ben Rector, he's another new artist added this year. Well, not a new artist, but new to playing this festival. And he's great. He has a new record that just came out, and I love it. Top notch. I recommend him. Also, the Baha Men, Who Let the Dogs Out. That's fun. The Wanted 2.0. I don't know. Maybe that's a new lineup. The Fray, Hanson, Hoobastank, Smash Mouth. Last year, Chelsea and I were at Epcot during Food and Wine, and Smash Mouth was there our day, and we actually didn't even watch them. We missed it. Sad, their original singer passed away, and so this is a different singer, so it's just not the same. But that's cool, though. Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, Boys to Men, David Archuleta, Jordan Sparks, she's new to the lineup also. The Beach Boys, I don't know who from the original lineup of the Beach Boys is in there, but that's cool. And Bowling for Soup. I love Bowling for Soup. They're a really cool pop-punk band I've been listening to for a long time. If you don't know, they did the theme song for Phineas and Ferb. And yes, they do play that live. I can't guarantee they'll play it at this show, obviously. I don't know their set list. But I've seen them live a couple of times, and they've always played that song. So, very cool. Fun fact, they do not sing the song Stacy's Mom. So many people think that's Bowling for Soup. That's Fountains of Wayne. But they do play that song live also as a joke because everyone thinks it's their song. But anyways, so I'm just excited to be going back to Food and Wine Festival this year. So, let's see, Yoho Daddy-O in the chat, you try to convince her to go Eat to the Beat this year. So let me know in the chat, who are you most excited to see at Eat to the Beat, or I guess hypothetically, looking at the lineup, who would you most want to see if you were able to go to Eat to the Beat this year? Let me know down in the chat. Or if you're watching this as a playback, let me know in the comments. I'm curious. So, yeah, I mean, for me, Toby Mac, Mercy Me, Bowling for Soup, Ben Rector, any of those would be cool for me. So, other things for Food and Wine, like I said, August 28th to November 22nd, things are returning. Remy's Hide and Squeak, right? So that's the thing where you look for the little hidden Remy's. They're like on buildings and stuff, and you get like a map with stickers, I believe, and then you get a prize at the end. See, Daddy-O in the chat wants to see Boys to Men and Joy Fatone. Yeah, that'd be cool. Also returning this year for Food and Wine, you got Meals Fromage Montage. So that's basically a cheese crawl. You go around World Showcase and you eat different cheese-based items. And you get stamps for everyone that you get. And then when you fill out all the stamps, you get a prize. And guess what it is? More cheese. It's another cheese dish. So, it's cool. You got Living with the Land displays. So if you've ever been during Food and Wine ride and you've ridden Living with the Land, you see that they do really cool things. Little displays with sometimes a picnic area set up. They'll have some little, I don't know, it changes every year, but it's really cool. I love Living with the Land. I will also say, if you ever have the chance to ride Living with the Land at night during while it's raining, do that, because once you get into the greenhouse, it's dark and loud, and it's really cool. So, I don't know. I like rain, so. And then also new merch for Food and Wine Festival. You got 4 different lines of merch this year. You have the regular logo merch. You have the Chef Remy merch. You have the Chef Figment merch, and you have the Muppet Labs merch. Excuse me. With the Muppet Lab merch, I'm guessing that excuse me. I'm guessing that it's going to be the return of the Muppets Tasting Lab, the brewing area, which, again, last time we were there, we went to the Muppet area and we had the, the peanut butter and jelly wings. I know it sounds gross, but it was amazing. It was so good. Hey, what's going on? Thanks for joining. The peanut butter and jelly wings at the brewing lab fantastic. If you get a chance to go this year, and if they're serving those again this year, which I think they are, get them because they sound gross, but they're so good, so good. But anyways, so that's Epcot. That's Food and Wine Festival. Anyone going? Anyone going to Food and Wine? If you're going, drop me a thumb up in the chat. We'll have to chat about it when I get back in September and talk about how awesome Food and Wine is, because it's always a good time. But let's move our news back to Magic Kingdom and let's talk about It's a Small World, because as you may know, over in Disneyland, the It's a Small World attraction on July 17th, that's the 70th anniversary, they're getting the premiere of a new verse written by Richard Sherman to the Small World song. And, surprise, Walt Disney World's getting it too. We're getting it too over at the Magic Kingdom. So during the last scene of the attraction, you're going to get to hear a new verse that was written by Richard Sherman before he passed. He passed back in 2024. Of course, he was part of the writing team, the Sherman brothers. Robert Sherman was his brother and writing partner. He passed in 2012. They were known by Walt Disney as the Boys. They wrote music for It's a Small World, the Carousel of Progress. They wrote for the original Winnie the Pooh. So much, guys. Mary Poppins. They're legends. And so, if you haven't seen this, go on YouTube and look up Richard Sherman, the last verse. It's like a 3-minute little short film. And it's really pretty. It shows like people all around the world all singing It's a Small World. And then it kind of ends with like panning on these like new lyrics. And it's just beautiful. And so that'll be also debuting at the Magic Kingdom during the final scene on July 17th also. And let me read you the new lyrics. It says, "Mother Earth unites us in heart and mind, and the love we give makes us humankind. Though our vast wondrous land, through our vast wondrous land, when we stand hand in hand, it's a small world after all." And that's beautiful. We're going to get to hear that. That's one of the, gorgeous. That's actually one of the reasons that Chelsea and I changed our Disneyland trip, because we had it booked earlier, and then we moved it to be after July 17th so we could hear this. So it's funny that it's going to be at Disney World also, but I guess we'll just hear it twice. So that's all good. But here's something really cool. They're releasing a special edition vinyl, a vinyl record, special edition Small World on July 18th. It's available for pre-order on Disney Music Emporium. I believe that side A is, the regular original recording, and side B is the 70th anniversary recording with the new verse in it. And yeah, so if you're keeping up with the Mickey and Minutes podcast, which I hope you are, our last 2 episodes have been a conversation that I did with a good friend of mine named Jake D from the Sip and Mimos podcast, and we were talking about our Disney vinyl collections. And so this ties right in, and I might have to buy this. I have a Small World vinyl that I got secondhand from the 64 World's Fair. It's a really old school vinyl, and it's beautiful, but this special edition vinyl just, it seems great. So let's see in the chat. Very excited for the new verse, and Disneyland Small World is so much better. Soaring around, WDW pod, yes. I agree with you 100%. Disneyland's Small World is, of course, better. Hey, welcome in. Got 2 more people joining us. Yes, of course, Disneyland's version is better. So, I'm happy to be able to see the new verse in the Disneyland version. Of course, Disneyland has that beautiful outdoor facade, which, we have a facade, but it's indoors. It's not as grand. But yeah, I'm so ready for Disneyland. Just a couple weeks. So yeah, that vinyl, special edition vinyl drops July 18th. And please check out the last 2 episodes of Mickey and Minutes podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, to hear about our Disney vinyl collections. Spoiler alert, I talk about a a frozen Zoetrope, which is beautiful, amazing, and so much more cool vinyl we talk about. Hey, welcome in, Tim. Thanks for joining. So yeah, sticking with Walt Disney World news, let's talk about Dinosaur. Of course, we know that Dinoland USA is closing. That's not the news. You know that already. That's closing. It's already been closing. But it'll be gone completely in 2026. And Dinosaur, the attraction, just dropped some new merch. And this new merch it's kind of funny to me, but also like in a sad way. So yeah, Dinoland's going to be closing at January, I think, of next year. It's going to be replaced with a new Indiana Jones attraction, kind of similar to the one we have in Disneyland. But this new merch for Dinosaur, there's a hat and a pin and like a water bottle, and they have two different slogans that they're using. The first slogan says, "The future is truly in the past." And of course, that's a reference to the attraction, because the attraction is about time travel. And, you take the time rover vehicle and you go in the past, and, But it's also a tongue-in-cheek, reference to the fact that it's closing, that soon the whole attraction will be in the past. And I read that and I just laughed, like, oh, Disney, you're teasing us. The other slogan, I think this one's on the pin, it says, "It's fast, it's a blast, it's in the past." And again, it's hilarious, because pretty soon that whole land and of course that attraction will be in the past. So yeah. Let's see. Yeah, the Ferris wheel and the Disney World version of It's a Small World is awesome. Yes. I hope some of the merch is still available when we go. Yeah, so this trip that we're taking in September, we're actually not going to Animal Kingdom. We have 3 park days planned, no park hoppers. So, we're doing Magic Kingdom because it's Magic Kingdom. You can't go to Disney World and not go to Magic Kingdom. Does anybody go to Disney World and skip Magic Kingdom? Let me know. That's weird. But we're going to see Disney Starlight. Hopefully the new Pirate Lounge will be open. So lots of things going on there. Of course, we're going to do Epcot, Food and Wine, Test Track, Geo82. We're going to do Studios because we want to see the new Villains Unhappily Ever After show, the new Little Mermaid show. So, we've already said goodbye to Dinosaur and Dinoland at Animal Kingdom, so we just don't really have a reason to go right now since it's such a short trip. But I'm going to see if I can get this pin on eBay or something, or, if anyone's going to Disney World and gets their hand on this, let me know, because I would like to get my hands on that pin. I love the attraction, and the slogan just makes me laugh. So, yeah, I'm wondering if they'll keep it past when they close it. It'll probably be around for a while after it closes if it doesn't sell out. And if you have an outlet near you, which we do, we have the San Marcos in Texas outlet nearby to us. It might end up there, but I have a feeling a lot of this will fly, because it's not official like farewell merch, but it kind of is. I think the last time they did like real official farewell merch was for the Great Movie Ride and Ellen's Energy Adventure. I have the Great Movie Ride farewell shirt. It says "That's a Wrap" on it, and it makes me so sad. But anyways, yeah. So cool merch, and yeah. What do you guys think of that? Are you guys gonna miss Dinosaur? Are you ready for Indiana Jones? I mean, let me know. There's some rumors circulating that they might reboot the Indiana Jones franchise. I don't know how true that is, and my Indiana Jones loving heart does not want them to reboot it, because, why? Just let it live on the way that it is, with Harrison Ford being amazing. You know what? I think we're gonna watch Indiana Jones tonight. My wife and I have been doing a countdown to Disneyland movie night. We've been watching movies every night that are, Disneyland related. I'm making the executive decision. I want to watch Indiana Jones. So, let's see. After going to Disneyland and riding Indiana Jones, it got me excited for the Indiana Jones Animal Kingdom, but we'll miss Dino. Yeah, I feel the same way. Again, to plug the podcast, I'm in the middle of an ongoing mini-series called Dismantling Dinoland. It's a 3-part series where I'm giving the backstory of Dinoland USA. And in doing research for that, I've learned some stuff I didn't know already about the backstory and the history of Dinoland. And if you listen to the show, you will too, hopefully. And it's just, it's the reason I decided to do this show is because I wanted to say bye to this amazing land, which I think is so underrated and underappreciated. And people think it's just a dingy, carnival area, but all of that is intentional, and it has a purpose, and it was designed like that on purpose. And if you listen to the episodes on, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, you'll be able to hear about that backstory a little bit more. And yeah, the chat is blowing up. Gotta try to bring the new generation into Indiana Jones. I just hope they do it right. Yeah, same. They just released this Indiana Jones video game recently, and it's pretty amazing. I haven't played it to completion, but I know several people who have, and they say that it's better than the recent movies even. So, whoever wrote that game, maybe write the movie, but I have played a little bit of the game, and it is fantastic. So yeah, Indiana Jones. If you ask me what I'm most excited for in Disneyland besides anything new and 70th anniversary stuff, my answer is always Indiana Jones. And it's been a minute since I've done since I've seen Epic Stunt Spectacular in Walt Disney World. So that's on my list. I'm really hoping to get to do that on this trip in September. Not because it's going anywhere, knock on wood, but just because it's one of my favorites. But anyways, so I have one more Disney World story that I want to talk about, news story that I want to talk about, because I find it really interesting. And that is the Character Station, the Silhouette Station, and the Parasol Art Station have moved from Liberty Square over to Main Street USA. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, when you exit Ye Olde Christmas Shop in Magic Kingdom, or I guess when you did, there was these stations set up where it was just that. It was like little carts, and one person would draw your character, and another person would do the silhouette art and the parasol art. Those are those sun umbrellas, and they would draw things on them for you, and those are really cool. But I always felt like they were weirdly placed in Liberty Square, and they kind of blocked this little walkway a little bit. And they moved them over to Center Street in Magic Kingdom, or of course in Magic Kingdom, on Main Street USA, over to Center Street. So that's that little alcove where you're walking down Main Street, and they have that little cutout that's a dead end. That's called Center Street, and that's where you can stand and hear the choir lesson that's going on in one of the upper buildings. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and stand in Center Street for a little bit, and you'll be able to hear somebody singing, and it's really cool. It's one of those things that brings Main Street USA to life. But other than that, it's kind of a dead area, so I think that this works better here than it did in Liberty Square. We don't know why they moved it, but probably to make more parade viewing for Disney Starlight. What's interesting about that parade is that it's traveling the opposite direction than parades usually do in Magic Kingdom. They usually go from Frontierland over, behind Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and they end on Main Street. And this one is going the opposite way. It's starting on Main Street and ending in Frontierland. And, part of the path is it goes over that bridge in Liberty Square. And so I'm guessing they're expecting this parade to be extremely popular because it looks awesome. And they just need more viewing, and that space is kind of tight. But like I said, I think this stuff works better. Have you guys ever done one of these? Have you guys ever gotten your character or silhouette done in Disney World, or gotten this parasol art? In my parents' house, I have a character of me. Actually, all my siblings, we all did a character on one of our trips to Walt Disney World. I don't remember exactly where we got it done. If it was in the Magic Kingdom or if it was somewhere else. Actually, you know what? I'm remembering now. It was in we got it done in Hollywood Studios over in front of the Brown Derby. That's where it was. And all of us except for my older brother, who at the moment didn't want it done. Then he got it done in the Contemporary, I think, where we were staying. So they have these character places all around. But yeah, my character is like playing a little drum set. And it's really cute. It's up in my parents' house. It's awesome. But yeah, these are really cool. So let's move over to Disneyland news. Oh, let's see the chat. Oh, hey, welcome in. So you got yours done in Animal Kingdom, if you're remembering right. Yeah, they're fun. You know, if you're into the idea of someone drawing you and exaggerating features that you're probably already self-conscious about, but you know that's what a character is. So it's cool. I like them. It's a fun memory. But let's move over to Disneyland. Let's talk about some Disneyland news. So, you know, I wanna end this MiM Monday with 3 stories that are positive. You know, we started talking about something sad. We started off talking about the Rivers of America closing and all that stuff. But you know, I figured we'd end the chat today talking about some good news. So, the Matterhorn is set to reopen on July 24th. Now, this is good news, obviously, for Matterhorn fans, but specifically for me. And I'll tell you why. It was originally scheduled to be closed during my trip, and you know that's not an opening day attraction. It actually debuted in 1959. Part of the new Tomorrowland area and all that stuff. But, you know, it's classic. It's one of the most classic attractions. You ask most people about Disneyland Park, and they're probably going to mention the Matterhorn. It was the first tubular steel roller coaster, and it's gone through so many updates over the years. It's so fun, so amazing. And yeah, so we were nervous that it was going to be closed, but they announced that it's going to be open on July 24th. It actually closed for refurbishment on May 8th. And good news. Yeah. You know, we've talked so much about things being closed, you know, like for my Disney World trip, in September, Spaceship Earth is going to be closed. Obviously the whole Rivers of America, Big Thunder Mountain will still be closed, and just so much more. And, you know, that's always frustrating, you know. And, you know, there are going to be things closed on my Disneyland trip. Star Tours will be closed. But, you know, that one doesn't hurt as much because they have it in Disney World. So, yeah, Spaceship Earth, sad face. Yep, I agree. That's a hard one. But, you know, so it's always good news when you find out about things being open for your trip. You know, that's always something that is good news. So Matterhorn open July 24th. And the other one that's going to be open is the Tiki Room. And that one was closed for a while. They were redoing the Tangaroa tree outside. So that's the Thurl Ravenscroft narration pre-show with the tree, and it has the little like flowers that come down, and that was broken for a while, you know, and they completely rebuilt this. So apparently they took like digital scans of it and everything, and they chucked the old one, I guess, and they made a brand new one which is nearly identical. I think it's a little higher. I think people were touching the plants that were coming down, but that's coming back, and it actually already did come back. They were able to get it open on July 1st in time for the 4th of July weekend, but it was open with some weird hours, you know, like it was like open late in the day and closed early, so might have been some like, you know, kind of testing, but it's going to be open when I'm there, and I love the Tiki Room. You know, it's one of those that I didn't appreciate when I was a kid, but as I grew up and I learned Disney history and I learned about, you know, Walt and the animatronic birds and what that means to Disney history and parks specifically, it's one that you really learn to appreciate. And as an adult, someone who loves tiki culture and tiki drinks and all that stuff, it makes me happy to go into the Tiki Room. So happy that'll be open. And finally, the Main Street Opera House, that's going to reopen on July 17th. And they just put the sign back up, And, it used to be that red sign that said, great moments with Mr. Lincoln. And since now they're putting the Walt Disney A Magical Life animatronic show in there, the sign it's like the same shape, but it says on one side it says Walt Disney A Magical Life on top, and then Walt Disney on the bottom. And on the other side it says Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, and the symmetry of the sign alone is amazing to me. I love it. But yeah, it's featuring both. Now, the Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln show, that one won't be coming back on July 17th. So if you don't know what they're doing to this, they're putting this turntable. And so one side of it is going to be the Great Moments show, and the other side of it is going to be the Walt Disney show. And they're going to be featuring both shows in the future, but now for the 70th anniversary, it's just going to be the Walt Disney A Magical Life show. And then after that, then they're eventually going to be rotating between the two shows. And so what this show is, this is another reason that we changed our trip to be at the end of July, is because I had to see this. And really, it's only going to be about 2 minutes of the Walt animatronic. So the show is going to begin with the 15-minute documentary One Man's Dream. And if you're a Disney World person, you know what that movie is, and you've probably seen it before. Because if you, at Hollywood Studios, One Man's Dream, which is now called Walt Disney Presents, when they're not showing like movie previews, that's the default. The default show is One Man's Dream, and it's just a little documentary about Walt Disney's life. But they're bringing that over here for the 70th. I'm not going to say I'm disappointed. It's something I've seen before. I was kind of hoping for a brand new film, for something that we haven't seen before. But, why reinvent the wheel? They already have a 15-minute show about Walt's life, so there it is. And then after that movie, it's going to reveal the Walt Disney animatronic, and the set is going to look like his office. From the concept art, it looks like he's kind of leaning against his desk. And they're making this with all historical, archival recordings of his voice. I know a lot of people were nervous about it being AI or whatever, but no, it's actually his voice. And just there's been a lot of controversy around this. People not thinking it's ethical or it's weird, but no one really knows how Walt Disney would feel about being an animatronic. But we know he was a pioneer in the field. We know that the reason that he wanted to make Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln is because he thought that'd be a great way for people who never got to see Lincoln in person be able to experience what it's like to be in his presence. And I think if you take that same ethos, that same idea, and apply it to Walt, there's so many of us Disney fans who obviously never got to, we were never the ones who saw him, on TV. I mean, except for, on replays and YouTube and stuff, but we weren't the Uncle Walt generation, we didn't see that. And we were never the people who got to go to the parks and maybe see him, but it's just one of those sappy things for us Disney fans to be able to experience somewhat a weird way of what it must have been like to be in the same room as him. Now, I know, like, with Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, if you don't know, that animatronic is bigger than Abraham Lincoln, like taller and stuff, because, as much as they wanted it to be exactly like him, they wanted it to also be larger than life, and I think that translated really well to the stage. If you've ever seen that show, it's beautiful. And so I'm wondering what they're going to do to Walt Disney and how they're going to make it really feel, again, Walt Disney was another larger than life figure, and to be able to see the animatronic, it's going to be crazy. So yes, we changed it. We moved our entire trip over a couple weeks for a 2-minute audio animatronic show, but as a Disney fan, it's absolutely worth it. So, but also we wanted to go after the 17th for all the festivities and everything to be there. So, are you guys looking forward to seeing this Walt Disney animatronic? What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's weird? Do you think it's exciting? Do you think it's cool? Or let me know. I'm curious. Let me know in the chat, or if you're watching this as a playback on YouTube or Instagram, let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of that? So yeah, that's the news today. I thought, ending on some Disneyland stuff is really exciting. You think it'll be really cool? Yeah, I think it's going to be so cool. I'm so excited for that. I'm curious if they'll ever bring that animatronic over to Walt Disney Presents and make the One Man's Dream show that we have in Florida the same as this show. That'd be pretty cool, you know. But at the same time, I don't think they need to. You know, Disneyland Park is the only park that Walt ever stepped in, unless you count the Disneyland parking lot, which of course became California Adventure. Then I guess technically he walked through what became California Adventure. But regardless, I think this animatronic belongs only in Disneyland. If you agree with me, give me a thumb up. I think it's his home park. You know, that's where it belongs. But yeah. So, anyways, we talked about a lot of really cool Disney news. A lot of stuff coming up, a lot of stuff closing, a lot of stuff reopening, Eat to the Beat lineup, and you know, Walt Disney World Railroad going backwards, Rivers of America being closed, tier. So yeah, so much. So, you know, let me know in the comments in this video what is most interesting to you in the news today. Like, what Disney news items really struck you in this week's news. And, you know, as always, thanks so much for joining me for this MIM Monday. You know, don't forget to tell your fellow Disney friends about it next time, and let's pack the chat. Let's get more people in here. The thing that I love so much about MIM Monday is that it's a community event. I get to, you know, essentially be in the room with you guys and chat with you guys, you know, my Disney friends. And I'm just so grateful for all of you for supporting Mickey in Minutes, listening to the podcast, coming on MIM Mondays, sharing stuff, you know, on Instagram, and it just makes me so happy. So Mickey in Minutes is a community. It's not just me. It's all of us. So thank you so much for supporting the show. Again, you can listen to the podcast anytime, anywhere you listen to podcasts, especially Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Of course, our website, mickeyandminutes.weebly.com. You can watch the playback of this show right now and other MIM Mondays on YouTube, and of course on Instagram. And just, you know, again, thanks so much for helping me make Monday magical. And I will see you next Monday. Have a great rest of your week. See you later. Bye. MIM Monday